What is good? What is good? What is good, beautiful people? Of course, you know who I am, the good doc, Dr. Mike, back again, once again, with another classic video for you guys today. Sincerely hope everybody's having a blessed one. Just a man of my word and keeping my promise, as I told you I would in the live stream, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to go ahead and get into this video in a minute. But if this is your first time watching a Dr. Mike TV video, please make sure you subscribe and notify. Definitely check out the ebooks listed in the link in the description area below. Social media platforms, everything that you'll ever need to know about the good doc shall be listed in the description area. So without further ado, let's go ahead and rip this one off like a band-aid. Is a professional Filipina or an educated Filipina better than a less educated Filipina? Now, I'm going to speak on this the best way that I possibly can. I'm probably going to miss a few things simply because off the top of my head, I can't remember everything that I want to talk about, but I'm going to try to talk about this as best as I possibly can, coming from multiple perspectives, just two perspectives. How I feel about the more educated Filipina and how I feel about the less educated Filipina. There is a video that I did do somewhat in relation to this topic. I'm going to try to find it, and I'm going to try to link it in the description area below or pin it to the top comment. If I fail to do so, my apologies. That just means that I cannot find it. So without further ado, let's talk about the educated Filipina. When I think of an educated Filipina, I'm sorry, guys, the first thing that comes to mind is a Filipina nurse. Okay, don't kill me. Med tech or respiratory therapist, things like that. These are the first things that come to mind. This is what I went to school with. I am a sucker for a woman in uniform. I am sorry. And that could also mean Philippine military police or a Philippine National Police uniform. I'm sorry. I don't know what it is about it, but I am a sucker for a girl in a uniform. I'm sorry. So I love my women to be professional. Okay, not gonna lie. I ain't gonna sugarcoat shit. I went to school with a lot of these Filipinas, and all I ever surrounded myself with was educated Filipinas. Okay, so what I found to be most prominent about your educated Filipinas is the simple fact that they are career oriented, and depending on where you are in your life will determine what type of Filipina works best for you. Okay, but I've noticed that the more educated Filipinas are career focused. You know, they went to school. If they went to school for a craft or, you know, their profession, they're going to want to try to focus on that profession. If they are unable to make it out of the Philippines, 9 times out of 10, they'll fall more into a call center job. I've noticed that once out of college, especially because of how hard it is to be a nurse in the Philippines. You know, most of them will gravitate towards an easier job or a quicker job to get into. So you'll see a lot of the nurses that I went to school with working in call center agencies. You know, that's just a quick FYI. But ultimately, anything that they can do to earn money, they're going to get into. So you notice about the determination and the career-oriented way that your average professional educated Filipina has about herself. Now, with you being the foreigner and being in a relationship with a young lady that is a professional, such as myself, what I've noticed to be a hardship or something that may be a potential downfall in a relationship with a professional woman is lack of time. You understand? Your woman is working. She has a job. She is there to help contribute to the relationship. If it's your wife, she's there to contribute to the household. She's there to do her job and be a part of the team from that particular aspect. She is a part of the team. So in order for her to be a part of your team, she's going to have to work because that's what she wants to do. She wants to make her own money and she wants to be a part of the team. And that's what a professional woman is all about. So you're going to have to sacrifice time. Probably more time than a little bit. Maybe you guys will get a chance to spend some quality time together on the weekend if you're lucky, depending on what you're doing. That will determine whether you guys can find the time to actually get together. That's what I've noticed about professional women or dating educated women. You know, they're career oriented. They want jobs. They want to work. So for you to tell them not to work is almost blasphemous. You understand? For you to tell them or try to make them into a housewife is hard because you're basically telling the Filipina, okay, sit still and do this now. So it's almost as if you're going to have a clash of the minds per se when it comes to dealing with women like that. Trying to make them do something that they're not used to, like become a housewife, may be a little bit more difficult. But another positive, aside from being a second income into the family or into being the partner and part of the team, the communication level between you two should be relatively up to par. You understand? Being able to communicate with one another, English, being able to understand each other's feelings, being able to understand if she's going through something, and to be able for her to understand if you're going through something, to be able to talk it out. So communication with a more educated Filipina will be so much easier than dealing with a less educated Filipina. All right. Now let's slide in real quick to what I would like to consider the less educated or uneducated Filipinas. When dealing with them, it does become a bit of an issue, because what I've noticed is that the mentality of the majority, not all, but the mentality of the majority of women who come from a lower income family and more educated, they're more so looking for the foreigner to take care of them, which makes it easier for them to slide into the position of a housewife, for them to get pregnant, to take care of the household, to be a part of the team, but be a part of the team that doesn't contribute in a monetary way, but contribute in another fashion, aka taking care of the household as expected. Now, yes, a Filipina that is more family oriented will have more time, but that can also be a good and a bad thing. The reason why I say it is a bad thing is because she's always going to be wondering what the hell you're doing whenever you're at work trying to focus, and she's bored at home because she's done all the cleaning or whatever it needed to be accomplished for that day. When she's bored and she has nothing else to do, maybe she doesn't go out as often, and she kind of spends most of her time in the house. Maybe she could go out every now and again, unless, that depends on whether she has friends or not. And then again, you don't want your wife or your lady interacting with these Western women, because that could be a problem. So she's going to be bored a lot of the time, probably always bothering you, seeing what you're doing, until she can settle into a routine that is comfortable for her, to settle into the routine of being a wife. You understand? Maybe a little bit more difficult for her to do so. Now, again, the pictures that I'm showing you, I'm not saying the women in these particular pictures are less educated or uneducated. I'm not saying that. These are just the pictures that I found to use for this particular narrative. Okay. So again, they may have a lot more time on their hand, but when they do so, the last thing you want is Filipinas thinking. I hate to say that, but the last thing you want is a Filipina to think, because when they start to think and they think that you're possibly doing something wrong, they're going to blow your ass up, especially when you're trying to work and get shit done. Could be a problem. Now, if you're the type to bring a Filipina into your business, or if you have a business and, you guys want to work together, that's a whole different story. That could maybe function well to an extent, but you got to train them to do things the way that you want things to be done. Again, on the communication side, it could be very, 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 very difficult to communicate with women that are less educated, simply because they just, the English is just not their language, guys. You're asking a Filipina who's probably been to very limited school. Maybe she was lucky enough to finish high school. Maybe she had to drop out of high school. I don't know. Maybe, in that particular instance, she may be okay with English, but sometimes it's going to be a struggle. And the struggle is real when you're dealing with a Filipina that can't communicate well with you. I think that'll be a big, big, big turnoff to your average foreigner. And the reason why it will be is because when a foreigner is very frustrated and he is unable to communicate the frustration, and vice versa, when a Filipina is frustrated and unable to express her frustration, it makes for a combustible situation in a relationship. So when it comes to dealing with uneducated Filipinas, that may be a problem that may arise. Now, if you ask me the truth, you ask me which is better, educated versus less educated, depending on upbringing, environment, the whole nine. If you include all of that together, I will always choose an educated Filipina. Just my personal preference. I don't know. Uniforms turn me on. I told you. It's my biggest weakness of all time, aside from my other one, which you guys already know what that is. But I would have to say that I would choose I would choose a more educated Filipina every single time, because I know what I expect from my relationship. I'm okay with the sacrifice of time if my girl got to put in that work. You want to know why? Because I'm okay to put in that work as long as she's okay to put in that work. We'll find time when we make time. I'm okay with that. All right. That's me personally. But if you are a foreigner and that is something you're not comfortable with, you have got to pick your poison. You've got to understand, look, if you just want your girl to be a wife, understand that you are the money man. If you got the money like that and you rich as hell, don't make no never mind whether she is contributing monetarily or not. It doesn't matter. But if you're looking for a woman to be a wife, take care of the household, etc., then you're probably going to want to go for a lady who is probably a little bit less educated. Now, less educated does not equal less determined. Let me say that before I end this. Less educated does not equal less determined. I've known plenty of women who did not go through college that are very determined and very business minded to an extent. A less educated Filipina doesn't mean that she's not knowledgeable either. You understand? So I want you to understand, less educated focuses solely on her position as it stands, possibly communication issues, but it does not mean that she is any less determined to make her own way, if possible, or no less knowledgeable in certain areas. You understand? Just because she didn't go to school. I want to say that. And just because she did go to school doesn't make her any better than somebody who did not go to school. I will say that as well, to end that on that note, because a smart Filipina is just a smart Filipina overall. But again, as a foreigner, you got to pick your poison. You got to understand what you're looking for in the relationship as it stands. All right. You have to look at it from where it stands and what you want out of the relationship. You want a partner that can team with you and double the income. You know where to go. You want a girl that can take care of the household, but also be able to do other things, just in case she wants to do an online thing or something to help take care of her own business, something like that. Not necessarily in a professional workforce, but, earning her money a certain kind of way, I guess. You could also lean more towards a Filipina with a little bit of less education, okay? And with that being said, I think I touched on everything that I possibly could. Again, I'm probably going to miss a lot of things. Didn't write anything down, just satisfying a request and a promise that I made to my people. Again, my channel wouldn't be anything without you, so I'm giving you guys the best of me 100% of the time, even though I sound like my throat is about to go out. So with that being said, the good doc is officially out. Aalis na ko. Paalam, which means we are going now. Bye-bye. As always, love you guys. Mahal kita, mabuhay. Bless the day. Peace.